Hey, so it's our last chapter of our Junie B. Jones series, Chapter 12, Happy Turkey Day. After all the pie was gone, I threw my plate in Mr. Scary's trash can. And oh dear, that's when I saw him. Philip Johnny Bob was still sitting on the desk with Police Sergeant Chuck. And I had forgotten all about that guy. I ran over and picked him up, and then I hugged him real tight. Philip, how did I forget you? You have been sitting there for 2 whole days. And you did not have one thing to eat. Philip nodded his head. I know it. I would really like some cranberry jelly right now. I patted his softy head. I know you would, Phil, but you can't have cranberry jelly, remember? We tried that last Thanksgiving and you still have the cranberry stain on your mouth. Phil quick wiped his face. Oh yeah, that's right, he said. He looked at the feast table again. Is there anything I can eat over there, he said. I don't know, Phil. At home, I just shove a peanut up your trunk, but no one brought nuts to the feast today. I pointed to the carrot sticks. What about those? Would you like me to put a carrot up your trunk? Phil shook his head no. That would look gross, he said. I nodded. Yeah, you're right. It would look gross. Then all of a sudden, I spotted a brand new bag of Nipsey Doodles. They were sitting on Mr. Scary's desk, and a Nipsey Doodle was just the right size for Phil. I quick opened the bag, and I put a doodle in his trunk. Yum, said Philip. This doodle is delicious. Thank you, Junie B. Thank you. Just then, a voice shouted in my ear, Hey, hold it. Those doodles don't belong to you, mister. You are under arrest. I quick spun around. The voice was coming from May, but she was pointing to Police Sergeant Chuck. She hurried to Mr. Scary's desk and she quick picked him up. And then, boom, out of nowhere, Chuck bopped Phil in the head with his trunk. You stole a Nipsey Doodle and stealing is against the law. Then May tried to take the doodle right out of Philip's trunk, but Philip ducked around her. Everyone looked to see the commotion. Mr. Scary frowned real big. None of this is my fault, she said. Peanut Butter and Johnny has a Nipsey Doodle in his trunk and Junie B stole it for him. I stamped my foot. No, I did not. Nipsey Doodles are part of our Thanksgiving feast, and a feast food is for sharing. May stamped her foot too. But that wasn't sharing food, Junie Jones. That was a brand new bag, and it belonged to Mr. Scary. Then May tried to pull Phil away from me, but I pulled him back. Plus, Philip bopped Chuck on his head, and then all of us got ready to wrestle. Only before we could even get started, Mr. Scary jumped in between us and he stopped us from bopping each other. Girls, he said, that's enough. Have you forgotten that we have guests? Me and May looked at our guests. May's mother was frowning at us. Mother and Grandma were frowning again too. I glanced at my Grandpa Frank Miller. He did a wink. That was at least refreshing. Mr. Scary kept on talking. I really don't understand what gets into you girls when you pick up those elephants. It's such a puzzle to me. I thought for a second. Then I did a little shrug. I don't know why it's a puzzle. Me and May are just playing with our elephants, and elephants like to bop each other. May nodded her head. Yeah, she said. That's what their trunks are for. Trunks are for bopping. That's how elephants play. I thought some more. Then I looked at May. Yeah, only maybe Mr. Scary doesn't know that, May. Maybe he doesn't have an elephant at home. May did a pause. Oh, right. I never thought of that. She looked back at Mr. Scary. Well, anyways, that's how elephants play, she said, and so Junie Jones and I automatically know that. Yes, I said, we do. Then all of a sudden, blink, a light bulb went off in my head, and I did a gasp. Mr. Scary, you were right. Even though May and I are very different from each other, we both love elephants. And so that is how come we were almost being friends just now. Because we have something in common, just like the Pilgrims and the Native Americans. May looked curious at me. Yeah, but we're not really friends, right, Junie Jones? It was just this one time, correct? Correct, I said back. We can't be friends forever, May. That would be ridiculous. We don't even like each other. May got relief in her face. Phew. Okay, good, she said, because I really like being different from you. I know it, May. I like being different from you, too, I said. Very different. May smiled. I smiled back. Then I tried to do a fist bump with her, but she did not see it coming, and I accidentally hit her in the arm. Ow, she said. Sorry. May shrugged her shoulders. Then she rubbed it off. After that, we both skipped to our seats with our elephants. And we hugged our elephants real tight. It was a lovely moment, I think, but all of a sudden it got interrupted by shouting. I quick looked up. It was Sheldon and Uncle Vern and Grandpa Ned Potts. "Happy Turkey Day!" they shouted real loud. They were holding hands in front of the room, and they were doing 3 squeezes. All of the children stood up. We grinned from ear to ear. "Happy Turkey Day," we shouted back. Mr. Scary looked at room 1. His face got beamy and proud. He was thankful for us, I believe. And that is the end of Junie B. Jones. Yep. Because I don't have, I think there's 4 more books in this series, and I don't have them, so I'm going to have to get them. But that's the end of it. All right, guys. See you at math.